Well, they certainly picked a secluded spot for this. I'm assuming they wanted to get away from the inner city gangs and stuff. I'm glad we at least got these walkie-talkies so we can scope the place out before we go in and get these CBs. Jimmy said we wouldn't see any cars parked out this way. I don't see anything from over here. You see anything over there from the south side? Anyone walking around? Any lookouts?
No, nice and quiet, and he did vouch for security. Plus, you got your Ruger, and I got the 357 to trade in, so we'll be fine. You're just west of the water tower, right?
Yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm going to circle around in a second. These CBs will be great, and I like the schedule and codes we worked out for on-air security. Things keep getting worse, and it's going to help out a lot.
Yeah, and getting a 9mm for this 357 is going to help us with our ammo standardization between the two of us. I wonder what else they're trading in there.
Yeah, a lot of liquor and cigarettes that we don't need. Saves us a lot for our families. I didn't think to bring the batteries. We got a lot of AA's at home. I'm thinking that this water tower here is going to be a great place for a lookout. You can see the entire area from up there.
Yeah, sure, but have you ever pulled guard duty in a tower in the winter? It's brutal. You'll freeze your butt off.
Yeah, maybe I'm being ultra paranoid. But you're the one who started it with your infantry tactics and everything.
Well, everyone inside's going to be armed. It's mostly the gun show group. Nobody's going to try anything in there. We just have to be careful on the way in and the way out.
You keeping your 357 in that bag? I've got my Ruger in my holster.
Yeah, it's too big for my holster, especially with that red dot laser sight.
I'm pulling up behind the place now. You go in first and I'll observe. Then we'll do the same on the way out. I'll be 10 seconds behind you. I'll get the CBs and you trade your gun.
Alright, sounds good. First I'm going to be looking to trade the Gold Eagle for some silver, so I've got change, and then I'll trade the gun.
Who are you with?
Jimmy.
Okay.
I need to change this, please. What's it going now for gold?
All right, looks good. 20 to 1 sound good?
20 silver. Okay, I guess so. I remember when it used to be 40 to 1.
Okay, so both CBs for 12 ounces of silver.
No, I need at least 15.
Well, how about I go 14, but they're eagles, not just rounds.
Eagles, alright, deal.
Okay, what about these canned hams you got here? Are these about a pound each?
Yeah, I'm getting an eagle for every 7.
All right, I'll take them. What about sales tax?
Yeah, sorry, barter isn't taxable here. You'll have to contribute to Uncle Sam some other way.
All right.
Hey, how you doing? Here's my 357. You want to take a look at that? And if I can take a look at the Ruger. Cool. Okay, so we got our CVs, so we can communicate now really well. We got some canned hams. We got a pretty good deal on that. An ounce of silver for 7 pounds, I think, is what Ed paid, and that's about what you would have paid before the collapse. So at least, you know, the silver protected us against some inflation there. And I got rid of my Smith & Wesson 357. So now Ed and I both have Rugers, the same model, 9mm. So we're standardized on ammo, and we're standardized on parts in case something breaks. We both know how to, we're both intimately familiar with the same weapon, and that's important for standardization. But then when we left, we had a problem, and I don't know whether I should be proud of the fact that our security procedures worked, or if I should be embarrassed that I was caught off guard. But I'm leaving the Barter Exchange, and I see some guys getting out of a car or whatever, and all of a sudden I get a tap on my shoulder. I turn around and wham, the guy hits me really hard. He had a ring and it cut me, not too bad, but all of a sudden I'm standing there, these two guys are there, you're coming with us, and so they're trying to shove me in this car. Fortunately, Ed was coming right behind him. So it was pretty effective. These guys knew what they were doing. I'm at close range. They're right on top of me. One of them's got this knife, and I can't draw. I mean, my 9mm isn't even loaded yet, or let alone put in my holster. So they're shoving me in the car, and all of a sudden, this 6'3" brother of mine comes up behind him with the 9mm Ruger pointed right at him, tells him to freeze. And that just changed everything. So, they put their hands up. I took the knife away from the guy, so piece of junk chintzy knife. And Ed tells him, I don't know where he got, he's like, hand over the keys. So he's got their keys, which we then threw away later. We're not stealing their car, but they're going to think twice about messing with people again, because unless they had spare keys somewhere. And then, then Ed tells them to take off their shoes. So I think that was from Lawrence of Arabia. So we leave. They got no vehicle and no shoes. We just threw the shoes away. They were stinky. And we threw the keys away. But I just didn't think that I was a target. I'm a pretty big guy, and I'm looking around and stuff. But two guys, with a knife, close range, you don't have time to draw a weapon, and even if I had my weapon. So everything worked out there pretty well.
Yeah, so before the collapse, I read in Furfel's book, he's that guy from Argentina. What they were doing there is they were doing express kidnappings where they'd grab you off the street, throw you in a car, drive you around, and one of the guys would call your home and, ransom you for whatever they could get out of the ATMs. And now with cell phone service being as bad as it is, they can't always rely on that phone call, so they'll take you to the house.
So if they had gotten me to my house, though, without calling first, my wife would have been ready for him. I would have made noise coming in, and I would have said our code word, Melissa, I'm home. Her name isn't Melissa, and she knows that means get the gun. And she's a pretty good shot. She's not afraid of using a gun, and she's not as good as me, but she's a great shot, and we would have been fine, I think. But yeah, before the collapse, we had a company I worked for, we had a plant down in Mexico, and I remember a buddy of mine telling me that his friend got into a cab pulls into a back alley. It's like, what are we doing? A guy gets on either side of him, so now he's trapped. And they tell him, hey, we're going to the ATM, what's your PIN? They get his cash, his ATM card, and he's like, I don't remember my PIN. So they take a screwdriver out and they stab him in the thigh. And they say, now do you remember your ATM PIN code? And they stabbed him a couple times in the leg. And they went to the ATM. He got out his limit, which I think was $300 US. And then they let him go, and that was it. Just really quick, in and out, and that's what they're trying to do. Is they're trying to just get some money. They're not trying to ransom the king's son for $1 million. They want to get $300 or $400, whatever, and they can do a couple of these a day. So back to what happened with us. If we had been walking together, maybe they wouldn't have jumped us. These two guys, but another person could easily have come up with a gun and had to drop on both of us. And if the guy's right there with a gun, it's not like you can draw. So I'm going to stick by our tactics. Infantry tactics say you make contact with the enemy with the smallest element possible so that you can maneuver your other elements, your reserve elements around. And even though I took it in the face, I think we did the right thing. Because if the guy had a gun, Ed couldn't have drawn. And if he had a gun, though, Ed can come up behind him and shoot him or point the gun at him. And I think we did the right thing. And I think we're going to stick with these tactics, is maintain separation so nobody knows that we're there supporting each other.
Yeah, these CB radios are great. The single sideband gives us a little bit extra range, and for where we're located, it works out perfect. We have a daily contact time. We're doing a schedule so that we're only on for a short period of time. We have a schedule, and we've got codes. So if there's somebody on that channel, we'll switch to another channel. predetermined, in advance, so we don't have to say, hey, go over to channel so-and-so, and you get the idea. Anyway, we got to call it 2. Hopefully there's no crisis going on, and we're just going to be checking in.